Hello, so yes, I'm going to be taking, Downshift. I'm going to move this over here. Migrating Downshift from enzyme to the React testing library. And this is a library I released yesterday that encapsulates a lot of the philosophies I have around testing React. So yeah, if you haven't seen that yet, I'll paste that in the chat, the stream chat. So there you have it. Sorry. And then I have a meeting with my CPA in like 45 minutes. So I'm going to be cutting this off in the next probably half hour or so. Okay, cool. So I just updated all of my dependencies and stuff. Hey there, Miffin. Yeah, okay. Cool, so let's go ahead and after updating all my dependencies, I'm gonna run npm run validate. This is running the KCD scripts validate script that's running all these things in parallel. And so we'll just make that happen. Miffin, all right. Cool. So yeah, Downshift has a pretty good suite of tests, linting of course, and then we even test the built stuff to make sure that the exports are what we expect. And then we have like code coverage, TypeScript tests, tests to make sure that server-side rendering works, and then Cypress tests for like in-browser end-to-end tests. So I'm not sure what that's all about. Failed to write coverage reports. So we'll have to look at what that one is. It might be just that with the update or something. Sometimes like things blow up in unexpected ways when I run my update script. So, and then that's also interesting. React UMD min. It's probably okay. When I live stream though, like all of this seems to take a lot longer than normal. Like 19 seconds for the rendered tests. I guess I've never actually run the React Native tests locally before. I just pulled those down, so I don't know, maybe those do take that long. Yeah. So let's, I can go ahead though, and in this other one, look for enzyme everywhere. So this is one nice thing, we'll be able to get rid of that. I never liked that you had to configure enzyme with an adapter. That just was really annoying to me. And then all these dependencies can go away, and then these all be replaced with render from React testing library. And yeah, these two. Yeah, see, I don't really use that much from enzyme other than mount. So, and sometimes render, I guess. Come on. Cypress. Okay, well, this is kind of boring. So I'll just go ahead and do this while those tests are running. So we'll import render from React testing library. Okay, it's almost done. There's like 2 tests for semantic UI, and then it'll be done. And so then instead of mount, we're going to do render. And I'm going to rename this from get wrapper to render downshift, because I don't like to refer to what I get back as a wrapper. Somebody just typed in a language that I don't understand. Sorry, I'm going to need a translator. Yeah, you can see the stream once it's done. I'll probably export this to YouTube later. Okay, cool. So that's finally done. So we're going to install as a dev dependent. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and remove rm the coverage and dist and preact and react native, right? Yeah, and storybooks static, and the ESLint cache. I'll just remove all those ignored things except for node modules because that would take too long. We're going to install as a dev dependency reacttestinglibrary. And so now that we're using render from reacttestinglibrary instead of enzyme, what we're going to get back is not a wrapper, but an object that has some utilities on it, and I'm going to destructure the utilities I want. We want query by test ID and container. And I'm just going to do data test ID is input, data test ID is button. Okay, so normally that's what I'd do, but in this case, because the implementation is part of the test, I'm not so concerned about testing implementation details. So the items can have test IDs, that's fine, but we'll just use container dot let's see, query selector, get rid of this first nonsense, and then we'll get test ID A. And these are actually nodes themselves, so we don't need to get the node from the wrapper. We'll just, it is a node, huzzah. And now we can run npm t focus. So we can just run the focus restoration test. And, oh, simulate. So we're going to pull in simulate here. And instead of using this simulate stuff, we'll say simulate, click on the item. Simulate, click on the item. Ta-da! See, it's not all that bad. And at the end of the day, it's much simpler. Okay, cool. So moving on to the next test, we'll import render from React testing library, and get rid of mount, and I only use it here, render utils, and we'll do utils and utils container get element or query selector button, and cool. Where's that get? Oh, render arg. Oh, it's a, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Okay, so let's just save this. And we're gonna go get button props and simulate. Okay, so button simulate. So this will be actually simulate. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? Yeah, I think I did it. No, rats. That's too bad. Oh, that's funny. Okay. So this first test is like totally screwed up. What did I do? Okay. Let's look at the diff. All the other ones are good, I think. Otherwise, I'd just revert everything. We'll get rid of all this garbage. and pull in simulate for the other ones. And then here we're going to say simulate key down. I think it'll actually be key uppercase down from the simulate library. Let's see what happens. Now this just use fake timers should probably be up here. I like to have those up there. At the top, okay. Ignores key events. Okay, so key down needs to be capitalized. Cool. Key up. Okay, good. Neat. That's not all that bad, right? Okay, so moving on to get input props. Okay. So these are all passing, not for long. Ha ha ha. Import render from React testing. Oops. Library. And we'll get rid of mount, and then hey, we can get rid of this cell thing too, because it's built into the return value from render here. Oh, and it looks like I'm not even using the wrapper thing, so oh, at least I wasn't there. I am here though. Right? Aha, there we are. Okay, so we'll just start at the top here. This will be render, and then get element or query by test ID. Input. And then instead of input simulate, oh dear. Yeah. Here actually, for all these, to be simulate key down input. Oops. Sometimes Atom freaks out when I have a lot of multiple cursors. Oh, and this is supposed to be query by test ID. And let's not only this. Okay. What? Key down on the input node. But it appears that the input node is, oh, actually it's because it's data test. This should be data test ID. Because I changed that in React testing library, because apparently that's what React Native Web does, is they have this test ID prop on everything, and they'll set that to be the data test ID attribute. So I was like, oh, let's just use the existing thing. Okay, so now we've got that one done. Migrating from enzyme to React testing library. Let's do this one. So this one's going to be busted because I removed mount. We'll do render instead. We'll get query by test ID. So, well, most of these were getting the input, right? So why don't we do this instead? We'll say render component or render downshift. We'll do component and render spy equals setup. And does setup, yeah, it does accept args. And we'll return, actually we'll get our utils from render of the component. And then let's see, let's make sure that component is never passed any. Oh yeah, it is passed some props here. Yeah, I wrote these tests kind of funny. Not a big deal though. Let's see. It's items. Okay, we'll get items, and we'll pass those items. And then we'll call these props, and we'll pass those props. Okay, there. That'll make it easier. And then we'll return the component, the render, spy, and utils. But one other thing we'll return is the input, because everybody needs the input anyway. We'll say utils.query by test ID input. And we'll also do button, because I think we need that too. Utils query by test ID button. And then up here, I'm going to leave the dot only on this actually. And we'll do render downshift, and we'll get the input. And then get rid of both those lines. Oh, we do need the render spy too. Okay, both those. Cool. And then on this one, you just say render downshift. And this is going to give us the input and render spy. And both of them should be passing, but they're not. Yes, this needs to be defaulted. Oh, and then simulate is different because we're not using enzyme wrappers anymore. Key down on input, and we just do it twice. Now it should be passing. Cool. Okay. Sweet. So now we're going to go only on this one too. Render downshift and get me my input. And instead of, you know what, let's just get all these. And this is simulate key down input. And I'm actually thinking maybe what we could do is add this as part of the utilities we return back. So it's a arrow down input, simulate here, and actually let's pull these out, at least the input, const input equals that, simulate key down input, key, let's see, yeah, key arrow down. Okay, and we'll do this again, except this will be arrow up. Cool, and then we go here, we'll say, and then we can do extra event props. Spread those across. Coolio. So then we can arrow down input. Okay. And then for this one, it's going to be arrow down input with the additional shift key. And then this is going to be arrow up input input with the shift key and arrow up input. All right, sweet. That makes things a little easier. Arrow down input. Cool. Arrow up input. Okay. Neato. Only. And we're going to call render downshift. Then here, do we do a key down with the enter anywhere else? Yeah, we do. Okay, so we're going to do enter on input, enter yeah, it's key down. Okay, cool. So this will be enter on input. Okay, and we'll add this one. We'll say enter on input. And this will be render. Oh, hold on a second. Is open true. Render downshift props is open. Oops. True. Cool. Then we'll do only on this one. And this one's got a couple props. So we'll do render downshift with some props, and those are is open. Will be is open and on change. And then get rid of this and that. And this is going to be arrow down and arrow down input, enter on input, arrow down on input, oops, enter on input. Sweet. See, this is going pretty smoothly. Okay, and then this is, okay, now we're gonna have a change. So we'll do the same thing. Oh, oops. Change input value. Change and on input, and then it's target value and this one's going to just accept a value as the first arg and then extra event props as the second. I don't think we'll ever actually use that, so but yeah. So then change input value. This will be render downshift. There aren't any props or anything. So this will be change input value to P. And then let's do the escape key. Okay. Escape on input. not dealing with these weird wrapper things, the input is actually gonna just be the node. That should work. So this is the first time. Oh, you know what? I think I did the wrong. Yep, there we go. Escape. Yay! Whew, that was close. Pretty sure they're all the same. Okay, not only. And then this is set up downshift with state. So let's find that one. Okay. Oh, okay. Yep. Sweet. So this is going to be render downshift with some items. We don't do any of this stuff. So we get the input and the button, and then change input value, and oh, that's interesting. We had a key down. I wonder why we need the key down. Huh. We'll just see what happens. I think I want to remove that because it's not actually doing anything. Because it's not specifying which key is key downing, so it shouldn't actually be affecting anything. So we're going to change it, and then we're going to arrow down input, and then enter on input, and then change again. So let's just comment that out. Change to A, arrow down input, enter on input, and then input value to be that, and then arrow down input, and then change to be BU, and then utils. So we're going to actually const utils. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to spread these utils, which means I don't need those. Don't need that. Okay, and then this is escape on button. Okay. Escape. Wait, am I misspelling that? Oh, escape on input. Cool. All right. Use fake timers in the middle of the test again. Let's put that up here so we know what we're dealing with. Okay. Only oh man, this is taking a little bit longer than I expected. I'm gonna have to go see my CPA. Somebody's asking if it's hard to become a programmer. Yes, it's hard, but you can do it. Takes a lot of work, but it's great. Okay, cool. So now, yeah, I'm gonna set up this, and I'm not gonna do unless we have a couple blurs. Yeah, we got a couple blurs. Let's just do this. So we're gonna add another one of these utilities, blur on input, Why is my voice so very low? It's because I'm sick. I don't think it's actually all that low, but it's lower than normal, and it's because, yeah, I've been sick for a little while, which is kind of sad. Actually, it is still correct to call this extra event props because pretty sure that simulate.blur is going to do some extra things. So, okay, blur, and this is going to be blur on input. Can't always making tests exciting. Yeah. What IDE is this? It's http://ktd.im/atom. That'll give you a list of the plugins I have too, at least recent plugins. Okay, cool. So moving right along on input blur, does that reset? We're gonna get blur on input. Yeah, this catches a pretty wild edge case. So if I when you click on an item, so here let's just show downshift really quick. Downshift netlify. So if I pop this open, when I click on this item, the blur event fires before the mouse down happens on this item. Sorry, actually it's before the click event happens on the item. I'm pretty sure the mouse down happens before blur. Anyway, so the blur event happens, and so by default, what we have with downshift is we say, hey, when you blur, then we want you to to hide the menu, right? So you blur, hides the menu, and that makes sense for most use cases. So that's why we do that. But if I click, then that's also going to blur the input, so that also should hide the value. And so the problem is that if I click here, because the blur event fires first, I don't actually know where I'm clicking, so I can't say, hey, he's clicking inside the menu, so you should not hide the menu because he's clicking on the menu. So what we have to do is we have to say, hey, does the body currently have mouse down? Like, is the mouse down somewhere on the body, anywhere? And then I think we determine where it is on the body, and if it's inside the downshift component, then it's gonna wait before it resets the menu. So anyway, that's what this is testing. We're dispatching a mouse down somewhere on the body, and then we blur on the input, because that's what will happen when you mouse down. It's going to blur on the input, and then we run all the timers because we do have some things in the set timeout. You have to do some weird things for this, but then we expect that the render spy has not been called, and what that means is that it's not re-rendering, which means it's not going to say, hey, it should be closed now. So that's what this one's for, and yeah, looks like it's working. So what am I building? Building this. So I'm migrating this from one testing framework to another. Enzyme, well, it's not really a testing framework, it's more of a testing library. And I'm migrating it from this testing library to this one that I wrote just yesterday. That's been pretty cool. Just yesterday, and almost 500 stars. And GitHub is having trouble with their trending page because in 24 hours, almost 500 stars, and still not on either GitHub trending JavaScript. It's not on the trending repositories. Oh, there it is. Yes, it's on there now. Hooray! So 408 stars today. That's tweetable. Yay. I actually did send them a message like 2 hours ago, say, hey, I think your thing's broken because it should be up there like toward the top. So let's go ahead and, oh, actually I tweeted about this earlier. From Kent C. Dodds, will it trend? I made a silly joke. What? Oh, will in trend. Whoops. React testing library is trending. And we'll just copy this. Ooh, you know what I'm gonna do? Curl get IO. I'm gonna show you a fancy trick. So, you know that get IO URL thing? You can actually create any get IO URL to any github.com URL, but you can give it a custom vanity URL. And I don't know why they put this on 2 lines, because everybody's just going to copy paste, and I don't want it on 2 lines. But my code is going to be React testing library, and it's going to be React testing library. So then I copy this over here. Curl get IO URL is that, code is that, and then I can go to get.io React testing library, and it takes me there. Sweet. So now I have a shorter URL to type out. Add a couple of these things and tweet and retweet because it's a reply, and so I don't know, some people don't see it sometimes, I think. Cool. So yeah, that's fun. And oh, I'll just, well, yeah, I gotta think about starting get going. Let's see how many tests I got left. I could finish these. Okay, let's get these done, and then I gotta go talk to my CPA about taxes, one of my least favorite things in the world. Okay, not only on this one, and this is gonna be blur on input, and the button is actually going to be the button node. Cool. Not only. I'm using Atom. If you look up kcd.im Atom. Getting distracted by Twitter while coding. Yes, yes, that is a tale as old as time, my friend. Okay, so we're gonna do render downshift here, and we're gonna get input modifiers. Huh. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So we'll simulate. Okay, this is weird. This test is weird. So we'll simulate a key down. Oh, okay, I see. Key down on the input with a key that does not mean anything. Can't remember. I'm pretty sure this was this test came from a bug. So we'll just make sure that runs okay. render downshift. And we're going to need some props. Item count and is open is true. And then we'll get arrow up input. And we're going to need the render spy also. Perfect. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. So render downshift with that render spy. And this is going to be query by test ID. So this one's kind of using things a little differently. Yeah. Sweet. That worked. I think the reason why this has been relatively easy for me to migrate is because I was already using enzyme in this way anyway. If you're using a lot of like instance and state and props and whatever, then you might have a little bit harder time migrating, which is too bad. So render downshift and props going to be these things. This needs to be converted to these. And then we have arrow down input, enter on input. This will be arrow down input, enter on input. Okay, cool. And this is the last one, I think, in this file. As you can see, I have several more to go. Okay. Yeah. That's it. Sweet. I can get rid of all these .onlys. Oh, whoops. My bad. Manages arrow up behavior. There we go. Okay, cool. Now if I run all the tests, they should all pass, and then I've got to get going to my meeting. It will take 8 minutes to arrive. Sweet. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna make a branch, PR, test, migration, git add, commit, all the things, work in progress, migrate to React testing library. And then I'll git push that. And now, while this is running all my stuff, I'm going to stop streaming. It's been fun. Go ahead and start my testing library for fun, and downshift while you're at it, just because it's so fun to start repos. And I'm going to jump off. I'll probably be back on this afternoon. I really want to get downshift migrated, and then I've got some pretty small breaking changes I want to make. So we'll be pushing downshift 2 soon, hopefully. So yeah, I'll probably see you in a couple hours. And cheers. Bye.